Tucker Carlson was recently interviewed at the latest America Fest, sponsored by Turning Point, and he had quite a few things to say about Ron DeSantis and his fledgling campaign. And in doing so, he exposed not merely the incoherence of DeSantis' campaign, but the increasing incoherence of the Republican Party as long as it continues to resist a full embracing of the America First populism of Donald J. Trump. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, many of you know we have unfortunately been completely demonetized. So let's make sure to show some love to our awesome sponsor, and that's the one and only Game Day Ready Pain Relief. You know how much UFC fighters love President Trump and how much he loves them, but have you ever wondered what they do to manage their pain? Well, you don't have to, because a fellow patriot and a very good friend of this channel is precisely the one who provides relief to that pain, and he's here to do the same for you. We all know that as we age, aches and pains are normal, but you know they don't have to be. And that's where the groundbreaking medical scientist Clint Winters comes in. Now, you've seen Clint on Fox. You've seen him a number of times on this channel. Clint's a world-renowned health expert who's unveiled a natural pain reliever that's taking the world by storm. It's called CB2. It's the 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous meds, and it is the official pain reliever for the fighters in the UFC. So whatever you do, make sure to click on that link below and check out Clint's amazingly informative report on how CB2 is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at a fraction of the cost of pain pills. Click on that link below right now.
Can I just ask a question, since you all are so on the internet and like I'm not that much? You really get the sense that Ron DeSantis, who I liked as governor, the people who represent him online are the nastiest, the stupidest, and the most zero-sum people I've ever seen in my life. And I don't think that reflects him, but it's like, this is kind of small ball. And by the way, these purported conservatives, Ron DeSantis changed his view, and I like him, okay? I think he's been a good governor. I just want to be clear about that. I know him personally, I like him. But his donor, Ken Griffin, told him to change his view on Ukraine from it's a regional conflict we shouldn't get involved in to it's a super important thing, we should send more money. One donor got him to change his view, and all these so-called conservatives are supporting that like it's the most important thing ever. Like, who are these people and what is their problem? Like, what is going on with them?
It does reflect on Ron, because Ron should have fired the people running his campaign a long time ago. Look, I respect that he wanted to launch his campaign on X, on Twitter Spaces at the time, and it failed miserably. This is a mistake. And now you've got, look, I know a lot of people groan, but a lot of people laugh. The high heels, boots scandal. I mean, who's giving this guy advice, and why does he keep taking it? Because I will say it politically and policy-wise, we love Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
He's done an amazing job.
I agree.
But his campaign is a train wreck.
Yeah. And it is a train wreck. I mean, and of course, that was Tim Pool. The DeSantis campaign is an utter and total train wreck, and we always knew it would be from the very moment he announced he was going to challenge Trump in this foolhardy bid. I told you this was the biggest possible mistake he could make, politically speaking. This is basically going to end Ron DeSantis's career, and that's because his campaign is so totally and utterly incoherent. Ron DeSantis, from the moment he announced his candidacy, DeSantis has been trying to portray himself as the anti-establishment populist candidate, all the while being backed by the establishment. That's why I so appreciated what Tucker just said there. I love Ron DeSantis, but why on earth is his foreign policy so easily bought? I mean, you remember some months back, don't you? Tucker actually featured a segment on a show where he asked every single potential 2024 GOP candidate to answer some key questions on the war in Ukraine. Questions like, is opposing Russia and Ukraine a vital American national strategic interest? What specifically is our objective in Ukraine? And how will we know when we've achieved it? What's the limit of funding and material that you would be willing to send to the government in Ukraine? Should the United States actually support regime change in Russia? Now, while all the other candidates like Nikki Haley were channeling their inner Liz Cheneys, Ron DeSantis actually originally answered those questions as an America First populist. It was the first time DeSantis actually spelled out his position on Ukraine, and he called it a, quote, territorial dispute. that was distracting us from our own problems here at home, like our open border. And he went on to point out that Biden's policy of confrontation with Russia has only served to drive Russia and China closer together and openly talk about a new post-globalist alliance that is redefining the international order. So originally, DeSantis rejected the neocon unipolar response, but then the donors came into his life. The donors were making lots and lots of money off this multi-billion-dollar military-industrial complex. And suddenly, DeSantis changed his tune on Ukraine. It was that easy. In other words, Tucker's pointing out that Ron DeSantis' foreign policy, whether we like it or not, can be bought. It can change with the right amount of money thrown in his direction. So I ask you, how on earth is someone like that going to take on the establishment? Jack Posobiec recognized it right away during the first debate. He tweeted out, "Weird how Biden is jailing the leader of the Republican Party and Democrat judges are dissolving his business, and no one at this GOP primary debate seems to have noticed. Oh, but sure, they'll take on the deep state. Absolutely." Yeah, bullseye. Bullseye. We're all up here on the stage having this stupid debate, all the while completely and willfully ignoring the total weaponization of our legal system against a former president. We're just going to dutifully pretend that's not happening precisely because it's being supported by all our donors. Our donor class, like the Club for Growth, is behind the weaponization of our legal system 100%. But trust us, we're the ones you can depend on to take on the establishment. What kind of fools do they think we are? This is precisely why the DeSantis campaign, as well as all the others, Haley, Christie, Pence, are imploding or have already imploded like Pence. But what we have to understand is that what's happening to DeSantis and the other single-digit midgets is precisely what's happening to the Republican Party as a whole. This incessant incoherence of claiming to be against the establishment while supported by it is precisely what the GOP as a whole, it's precisely why they're so radically unpopular. All the polls show that the massive surge in support that Trump is getting does not translate to the Republican Party. After the disappointing midterms, J.D. Vance of Ohio explained several reasons why voters loyal to Trump don't necessarily extend that loyalty to the Republicans in general. And as we've outlined here, who could possibly blame them? Who can blame voters being disgusted by a party whose leadership is far more concerned about the security of borders 10,000 miles away than they are about our own? As long as the Republican Party tries to portray itself as the party of the people, all the while being bankrolled and controlled by the ruling establishment, they will lose. What's happening to Ron DeSantis at a personal level will happen to the party as a whole precisely because of this electoral incoherence. It's only when the party's leadership fully embraces America First nationalist populism. It's only when they finally abandon these suicidal donors who care only about their own profit and power that the GOP may indeed achieve a supermajority we haven't seen in 50 years. Let's hope that with Trump's reascendance to the top of the ticket, 2024 will be the year that finally happens. But first, gang, as many of you know, we have unfortunately been completely and totally demonetized, which is putting our daily communication with one another at risk like never before. Now, we are actively working on getting this resolved, but as things stand, this channel has, without any warning, been totally and completely demonetized. And as Elon Musk said so powerfully last week, the whole point of these demonetization efforts is to deliberately try to make us patriots feel like we're all alone. They want to sever our relationship with each other and force on us a kind of digital solitary confinement so as to demoralize us and discourage us like never before. But to their horror, it's not working. Over this past week, you have carried this channel like never before. We've had more people than ever make the courageous decision to bypass big tech and join our Insiders Club. We have direct access to one another that can never be interrupted by big tech overlords. Over the last 7 days, we've seen literally thousands of you come to our rescue. And you've done it in 2 ways. You've signed up for our free newsletter and you've officially joined our Insiders Club. Those 2 acts alone are enough for us to collectively stand together and never, ever have our relationship severed. So I'm inviting the rest of you to do the same today, just by clicking on that link below and signing up for our newsletter and joining our Insiders Club. You are guaranteeing that there is nothing that big tech can do to get between us and make us feel like we're in a digital solitary confinement. It's as simple as clicking on the link below right now and opting into our free email newsletter. And once you do that, you can financially support us by joining our Insiders Club. Gang, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for your support during a time like this. You are my heroes, and it will be my mission to express my appreciation for every single one of you each and every week.